Blending is a skill that enables a child to make use of letter sounds to read words. It is one of the five most important skills of Jolly Phonics curriculum that enables a child to read fluently. While teaching to blend, children are expected to make use of letter sounds that they have already learned and blend them in such a way to make words. You can start teaching blending to child as soon as they have understood, learned and mastered the letter sounds of group 1 of Jolly Phonics. That means the children are able to read words as soon as they finish the group 1 letter sounds. That is the week 1 of Jolly Phonics. Isn't that amazing? But before we get into understanding the techniques that we can use to teach blending to children, let's understand what are the most important prerequisites. What is it that the child has to learn and master before they start blending letter sounds? So, here are few of the most important prerequisites before we start teaching blending to children. So there are basically three important prerequisites that I feel is very important for the child to understand and master before they start to blend letter sounds. And these are number one, phonemic and phonological awareness. Second, a strong grasp over letter sounds. And third is strong auditory skills. So as you know, in Jolly Phonics, before we start teaching letter sounds to the child, we work strongly on developing a great phonological awareness in the child. We start with teaching rhymes and songs that helps us understand the auditory ability of the child, whether they are able to hear the sounds properly and they are able to say it correctly, and then only we move on to the letter sounds. So once you have understood that the child has a good phonological awareness, their auditory skills are strong, then you move on to the letter sounds. And once they are absolutely thorough and have mastered the letter sounds of the group 1, then only we can attempt to teach blending to them. So now that you are sure that all your prerequisites are met, you can move on to teaching blending to the children. Now we have understood that blending is basically one of the most important skills that enables a child to utilize their learned letter sounds and blend them together to read words. Now, what I do when I introduce blending to children is instead of moving to directly CVC words, I prefer to introduce two letter words, VC or CV. So, in group 1, we have 6 letter sounds. That is S, A, T, P, I, M. So, out of these, we have 2 vowel sounds and 4 consonant sounds. Let's see how many 2 letter words we can make from this group of letter sounds. So this table in front of you shows all the combinations that are possible with our 4 consonants and 2 vowels. Now let's see how we can start with blending. We have already spoken that in Jolly Phonics, we use dots to denote a unit of sound, right? So here we have 2 sounds, each with 1 dot under it representing individual sounds of these letters. Now ask the child to identify these independent sounds. And since they have mastered, they should be able to say it immediately. Now, slowly what we are going to do is we are going to bring them closer and closer and ask the child to say it faster. The individual sounds, they have to say it faster and faster as the 2 letters are coming closer and closer. So, when they come together as a word, we denote it as a arrow under it like this. When they come together as a word, we denote it as a arrow under it like this. Now do this same for all the 2 letter words. And once the child is confident, we can slowly add the third sound to make a 3 letter word or a CVC word. For example, we already have done S-A. The child should be able to say it as sa, sa. And the moment I add the third consonant, they should be able to slowly blend it together. Sat, 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 sat. Similarly, pa, pa, and slowly they should come to pan. Some children will understand this method very quickly and they will start blending the sounds immediately with a little bit of practice. But there will be some children who will face a little bit of difficulty to understand how the sound changes a little bit while we blend them. So, how it becomes sa. So they will find it a little difficult, and what we have to do is keep practicing. Provide them as much as possible practice with the blending technique to help them internalize this process. Now let's see few of the interesting techniques that we can use to teach the blending and practicing them over and over again to internalize the whole process and how the blending of sound actually works. So here are a few important techniques that we basically use with our children in everyday classes. Now, the first technique for practicing blending is oral blending. Now, oral blending can be done through multiple like games where the child finds it very interesting to use the clues and the tricks to identify the things or words. So, first one is I spy. So, what I do is I say I have a hat besides me. So, I can say I spy with my little eye a hat. Act. The child has to blend the sounds together to make the word hat and pick that object from the lot. So whoever does the first, they win the game and they get a 1 point. So this becomes quite interesting for the child to quickly identify and pick the object and bring it that to me. So it kind of becomes interesting for them to blend in, identify the sound as quickly as possible than the other child. So I Spy is one of the interesting games that you can try. Another one is lesson breaker. Now what here you can do is whenever you're giving any kind of instructions or you're saying a sentence to the child, pick one word, a shorter one, a 3-letter one, and break that into sounds rather than saying the whole word. Now the child has to actually identify and blend those sounds to say the word and then follow the instructions. So again, it becomes quite interesting for the child to attempt to blend and identify what the teacher or the parent was saying. For example, you can say, can you please pass on my bag? Bag. So the child has to identify the sound, quickly blend them to make the word bag and pass on the bag to you. So this is another interesting one. So in both these games, what we are doing is we are working towards the auditory skill and enhancing their oral blending. So the child has to identify the sound that the teacher or the parent is saying, blend them quickly in their mind and identify the final word. Now the next technique is more of a physical one where we can engage the physical senses of a child. So what we will do is we will pick up some magnetic letters. Now individual pick them, like put them on the table. The group one only what we are attempting to teach right now. So there are magnetic letters independently put on the table. Now they pick any 3 of them which can make a CVC word like t, a, p. Now keep them independently and they will have to identify independently. Now slowly bring them closer, what we were doing with the flashcards from previously. So bring them closer, and the child has to keep saying the individual sounds and keep on saying it faster and faster as the letters are coming closer. So that will be kind of a light bulb moment for the child to be able to actually read a written sentence, to be able to read something that is written on in a physical format. So that kind of blows the confidence of a child once they are able to read something which is in a written format. So this is another technique that you can absolutely and easily use with your child for blending. Now the next technique is again a oral method, but we use the body movements in that. So we make use of jolly actions here. So assume I have to teach the CVC word, say nap, to the child. So instead of showing the physical letter or anything, I will be doing the action for it. Or you can just assign 2 children, tell one child to do the action, the other one has to identify it. So for nap, what I'll do is I'll do ah, but I won't be saying the sound. I'll just simply quietly do the movements, the actions of those particular individual letter sounds. The child has to quickly identify through the action, blend them together and say the word. So app, nap. So that's how it becomes. So this is again a very interesting one. You can do that quickly in your class. You don't need any tool, any puzzle, anything. Quickly. And if you are a parent, you can do it at the bedtime, anytime that you want to just play a quick game and simultaneously teach your child something interesting as well. Similarly, there are multiple resources and multiple games and activities that you can make use of. These are just few of them that I just mentioned. You can use n number of activities and games. You can just scroll through website and you will find hundreds of activities and games that you can play with your child to teach them blending and practice them over and over again. Do not forget this. Blending is a skill, and to acquire this skill, learning is one part, but to just internalize the whole process of blending sounds, you need to give them enough practice. So there are two important resources that I basically use with my children, and one of them is the blending wheel by Jolly Phonics. That's a quick and easy way of teaching, and you will find like one resource that can help you through all the 42 letter sounds, blending them together. So that is one of the helpful resource that I find. I'll try to give you a link in the description to check it out for that. And another one, which is an absolutely free resource available on Jolly Phonics website, is the word boxes. So again, it is a very interesting activity. The whole instructions are there, the printouts are there, that you can simply print it out and make your own word boxes to practice the blending with your child. So this one is an absolutely free resource that you can absolutely look up on your Jolly Phonics website. I'll try to again give the link to this particular word box in the description. Do check it out. So this was all for the blending techniques. Blending is one of the most important skills that enables a child to start their reading journey. And you won't believe the joy and the confidence the child feels once they are able to actually read something which is written on a piece of paper or in the form of a physical words like magnetic letters. So help them have that joy through the blending skills. I have discussed all the techniques that I basically use in my classes. And if you have any kind of questions or any feedback, thoughts, feel free to post them in the comment section. I would love to read your thoughts on my videos. Also, if you have any suggestions for topics that you would like me to take up in my next videos, do share that also in the comment sections. I will try to take them up in my upcoming videos. So this was all for this video. I hope you find it interesting and informative enough. And for more videos on parenting, early learning, Jolly Phonics, consider subscribing to the channel, like and share with your friends and families. And I share a lot of information, my Instagram ID as well. So you can absolutely follow me here. I have two IDs, one for my Jolly Phonics curriculum and one is my personal one, where I share a lot of resources and a lot of my personal life and my parenting journey. I'll see you in my next video. Till then, have a good day. Bye-bye. Take care.